Boys, the NFL is almost back and I cannot be more excited.
We are back!
Today I'm going to be predicting the record of every team in the AFC. I'm going to start with the Ravens. I think the Ravens have a really good team this year. I think they're going to be really good again. Lamar plays like an MVP every season, and they also have a top 3 running back in Derrick Henry. They also made a huge splash adding Jair Alexander and pairing him up with Nate Wiggins. I feel like that is going to be a dynamic duo. And I do think the Ravens will sweep the division besides the Bengals, where I predict a split. I would say I have the Ravens getting 11 to 12 wins. All right, moving on next, we have the Bengals. I think the Bengals are a really tough team to predict. Does look like they're going to pay Trey Hendrickson, which is a massive loss to their D-line and defense as a whole. Their offense will continue to be explosive with Burrow, Higgins, and Chase, but they might be in a similar position last year where their defense won't be able to get any stops. I don't really understand not paying Trey Hendrickson. I mean, I understand that they probably don't have the money, but still, he led the league in sacks, and that's a guy you're going to need if you want to make it far in the playoffs. Although they did sign a few defensive tackles, including TJ Slayton, but I don't think that will be enough. I still have the Bengals winning 10 to 11 games, but their defense is going to have to get some stops if they want to go anywhere deep in the playoffs. Now we get to Mr. Unpredictable, the Browns. I think the Browns are going to be terrible this year. The starting QB spot looks like a mess, and honestly, whoever's leading that offense at quarterback will be in a tough spot. Their positives are on defense with Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, Mason Graham, if he pans out, and Jerome Brown, but defense can't win you games if your offense doesn't have the ability to score, though, and I got the Browns winning 4 games max. Now, some people might think that's a hot take, but I don't know who the quarterback is. It could be Shador, Dylan Gabriel, Flacco, Kenny Pickett, who knows? If I was a betting man, which I am, I would stay away from the Browns this year. All right, now we get to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the last team in the AFC North. I mean, the Steelers are gonna do what they do every year. They'll either be 9-8 or 10-7. I mean, you can literally lock this in every single year. Never better, never worse. On paper, the Steelers look like somewhat of a dangerous team. Their defense is disgustingly good. TJ Watt, Patrick Queen, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slade, Derek Harmon, Jack Sawyer. I mean, this defense has the potential to do really great things. Offensively, if Rodgers has time to throw and doesn't have to do much movement around in or outside the pocket, he will be just fine. And they also added DK. And Freiermuth has been a great tight end throughout his whole career. All that being said, I'm going 9 to 12 wins. So in the AFC North, I have the Ravens, Bengals, Steelers all winning somewhere in between 9 and 12 games, and the Browns winning 0 to 4. Now we go to the AFC East, where I have the Dolphins winning 5 to 8 games if Tua is healthy. I mean, who knows? Will Tua be healthy? Does Tyreek want to be there? They have all the pieces, but I don't see them doing much this year, especially with the uncertainty of his health. Offensively, they're stacked with A-Chain, Tyreek, Waddle, and Darren Waller. I don't expect much from them defensively, especially with the departure of Ramsey. I expect them to be one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL, and that's the reason I'm going to have to give them 5 to 8 wins. And if Tua gets hurt, it's going to be right down here, between 0 and 4. Now we get to the Bills. I think the Bills are going to be the best team in the AFC this year. They have the MVP of the league in Josh Allen. They have a great running back in James Cook. They have a great wide receiver in Khalil Shakir. They have Dalton Kincaid, and then they have Keon Coleman, who I expect to take a huge leap this year. The D-line could be scary this year with Joey Bosa and Greg Rousseau. I do see a possible weakness to the secondary because of the possible injury to Tre'Davious White that he actually just sustained today. The good thing is the Bills have a tough week 1 matchup against the Ravens, but I expect them to win their next 6 after that against the Jets, Dolphins, Patriots, Saints, Falcons, and Panthers. I think this team could easily get 13 wins or even more, barring no injuries and if Allen is performing as he usually does. Who's on the mic? Vrabel and Drake May train. I am in the sense that they will be a solid team. Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson should complement each other well. They picked up Diggs and Matt Collins, which offers more support to May offensively. Picked up a beast in the draft in Will Campbell, which I don't think anybody's going to get through that man this year. And defensively, they got some guys as well. Christian Gonzalez, obviously, Milton Williams for free agency, and Jabril Peppers. The Patriots are a solid team that could potentially sweep the Jets and Dolphins in their season series. I don't think that will happen, but I could see them sweeping one of those teams at least. And I got them winning 8 games. I wouldn't be surprised to potentially jump up here, maybe get 9. But I think 8 is their ceiling, or 9's their ceiling, but I'm gonna go with 8. Oh boy, the Jets. I'm telling you, this franchise is cursed, man. I mean, I guess they do have Aaron Glenn now, but I don't know if that's really going to help anything. I love Joseph Fields, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, but I just think this team is cursed. Allen Lazard as wide receiver 2 doesn't help either. I'm not a believer in their O-line, and the only positive is that they have a mobile quarterback this year. Defensively, they have some really quality players. Sauce Gardner, Quentin Williams, Will McDonald, Quincy Williams, Jamie Sherwood. I mean, they have a lot of guys. But they can never seem to put it together. I'm scared for this team offensively, but would love to see Fields show out. I got them pulling 5 to 8 wins this year. All right, so in the AFC East, I have the Bills running the show with 13 to 17 wins, and then I have the Dolphins, Patriots, and Jets all falling mid-tier, getting somewhere between 5 and 8. And if I did have to bring a team down, it would be the Jets. I could see them winning 0 to 4 games. All right, now we get into the AFC South. The Texans. Likely no Tank Dell this year. Stroud didn't have the best year last year, and Joe Mixon might miss week 1. Good thing for the Texans is they're in one of the least competitive divisions in the NFL. They got Nico Collins, eventually will have a hopefully healthy Mixon, and Nick Chubb, one of the best cornerback pairs in the NFL with Derek Stingley and Kamari Lassiter, two great defensive ends in Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter, and Jalen Petrie and TJ Gardner-Johnson aren't bums either. Strength for the Texans this year will be their defense, and if they can manage 2 to 3 touchdowns a game offensively, I believe they'll win the division. I'm really in between 8 to 10 wins with the Texans, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they get 9. And now we get to one of the worst situations of football, the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, with Daniel Jones leading the way, I'm not too excited about the Colts at all. I believe Richardson will start at some point, but it's hard to say if either of these quarterbacks could generate winning football for your team. Skill positions are nice to say the least. Pittman, Pierce, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Downs. They do have a really good O-line, ranked 3rd in Pro Football Focus last year, but defensively, I don't think they have enough pieces to compete, and we don't know if they'll even be able to compete offensively. I think the Colts have a bad year, and I'm tempted to say 0 to 4 wins, but we do have the Jags in their division, so I'm going to assume that they get at least 5 wins. And Jacksonville, I'm going 0 to 4. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. They are not a playoff team. They need so many more pieces. I hope Travis Hunter has a great year, and I'm sure Brian Thomas will be a great fantasy option, but I don't see them winning any more than 4 games. All right, now we have the last team in the AFC South, the Tennessee Titans, baby. Cam Ward, baby. Predicting a big year for Calvin Ridley, by the way. I think he's going to be a great fantasy option, so I would get him in all your leagues. That being said, Cam Ward won't be able to do it himself, and this team doesn't have many great pieces around him. Jeffrey Simmons and Amani Hooker are great players, but they need so much more defensively. I think the Tennessee Titans are very similar to the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I'm going to give them 5 wins because I got faith in my boy Cam Ward. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up down here, though. Now we get to the AFC West, baby. This division is going to be so fun to watch this year. Let's start off with the team I'm most high on this year, the Denver Broncos. I mean, I actually think this team could actually be great. They're the best defensive team in the NFL, and Bo Nix show potential of being a solid quarterback in the NFL. I mean, their offense really doesn't have to do much this year. They have Pat Surtain, Zach Allen, Nick Bonito, Brandon Jones, Jonah Ellis, and more holding down the fort on the other side of the ball. All in all, huge potential for the Broncos team this year. I'm giving them 9 to 12 wins. And now we get to the Thanos of the AFC, the owner of the AFC West the last 9 years. I mean, it really is hard to go against the Chiefs, especially with Patrick Mahomes running the show. They also just drafted a great tackle in Josh Simmons, who was their 1st round pick. And I mean, we all know who the Chiefs got. It's the same team every year. They have Kelsey, McDuffie, Worthy, Pacheco, Bolton, Tranquil, Jones, Karlaftis. They will be good again this year, but the suspension of Rashee Rice could hurt them, as it's rumored to be 6 games. The Chiefs do have a tough schedule and a much more competitive AFC West this year, so I'm giving them 12 wins. The Chiefs realistically could get 13, though, if they don't slip any games to other members of the AFC West, but I do not see that not happening, as I do think they will lose to the Broncos at least once. The Raiders. Geno Smith and Ashton Jeanty season, baby. For the Raiders, the receivers aren't that promising, and a lot of work needs to be done defensively. Brock Bowers should have a phenomenal year, as the clear #1 receiving option in Las Vegas. Will be a great fantasy option. Max Crosby will continue to be a dog, but he can't do it himself on the defensive side. I got the Raiders winning 5 to 8 games. Now we get to the last team in the AFC. Last team in the AFC West. Big Herbo going to be slinging that rock to Keenan Allen and Vlad McConkey. And they do have Najee as their lead back, which will be interesting. I'm excited to see how he does this year. Derwin will be holding the ground on defense with some other solid guys like Dan Henley, Kareem Steele, and Elijah Molden. You know, I really have their squad winning 8 to 10 games, and I think Harbaugh will get them to that 9-win threshold. So I think they win 9 to 10 games. All right, boys, so this is my prediction for the AFC this year, record-wise. I think the Bills are going to be the best team in the AFC. I think there's going to be a lot of middle-of-the-pack teams, but you have to understand the AFC is so tough that it's so hard to win 13 to 17 games. I just went through the Bills schedule, and I think that they have the best chance at it, so that's why I gave them 13 to 17. With the Ravens having to face the Bengals twice a year and the Steelers, you know, nothing to gimme. The Chiefs have a tough schedule just outside of their own division, and the Texans are missing out on some key players. Looking back at it, if I want to make things a little bit more interesting, like I'd maybe do the Titans down 0-4, and then I would bump the Chiefs up 13 to 17 along with the Ravens. Those would be the only 3 teams I could see getting 13 to 17 wins. Bengals don't have the defense for it. Maybe the Broncos if they're only allowing 10 points a game, but I doubt it. So this is my order of the AFC, best to worst. I have the Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, Broncos, Bengals, Steelers, Chargers, Texans, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets, Colts, Raiders, Browns, Jags, Titans. But I do think the Ravens and the Chiefs will fall somewhere in 9 to 12 wins. I don't think they'll get that 13 to 17 threshold. I do think the Bills have the best chance at it, like I said. And if the Bills don't, then I think everybody's down here. I don't really know who's going to win 13 to 17 games. It's a hard feat to do. I don't care how good of a team you are. It's hard, especially in the AFC. All right, let me know what you guys think. Let me know any changes that you guys would make, or let me know what you think I was right on. Thank you so much for watching the video, and please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Peace.